I'd like to introduce you to my favorite story in the museum. This is the story of a pilot from World War II. His name was Stan Anderson. It's real interesting working here at the museum. Every once in a while, a family will reach out to us and say, we have the military records of our father or our uncle, but we don't really understand them. So one of the things I do here at the museum is when people bring in a military record, I will translate that military record into an actual document, like a small booklet that the family can have that explains what their relative did during the war or during their war service. One day we got the phone call in the basement, got routed up to me. A lady said, we found a trunk in our mother's closet. We're really confused. Nobody in our family has ever served in the military, but there's a whole trunk full of military stuff. We read the name. Not one person in our family recognizes the name. We don't know what this stuff is. I said, somewhere in that box you'll find a telegram. Send me a copy of the telegram and take some pictures of the documents, and I can give you some idea of what you're looking at. So they did, and over the next couple weeks I wrote up a little story for them and explained to them that they had a pretty significant find in their mother's closet. So I started my journey of discovery about this gentleman named Stan Anderson. He had two brothers. It was three brothers in the war. He was the only one that survived. When his two brothers were killed in aviation, they sent the dad home. I told this lady, the chances are your father knew exactly where that trunk was every day of his life, because survivor's guilt is the kind of thing that you never get to set it down. So now, looking into the box, I said, send me as many pictures as you can. It turns out this man was a true American hero. He's one of the first men that volunteered to go fight the Nazis in Britain during the Battle of Britain. December 7th, 1941, the Japanese attacked his country, attacked America. And Stan Anderson, like all these other pilots that had gone to serve the forces of freedom, either for China or England, all these pilots were called back to become American fighter pilots. And Stan was one of the very first to raise his hand, salute, and become an American fighter pilot. But now he was bringing 2 years of fighter leader experience into the U.S. military. He was definitely one of the honchos, one of the really experienced pilots that we needed in the coming conflict. We gave him a P-47 to fly. It's a wonderful fighter plane, but the fighter plane he was in before this was the Spitfire, the fastest climbing airplane of the war. They put him in the fastest diving airplane of the war, and he lost his life fairly soon after. So now we get back to the box. I sent the information back to the lady, said, this is your father's brothers. This is their careers in the military. You don't know these people. You don't know the guys in the box. There were two. They thought it was one, but it was two brothers in the box. And when I explained it all to him, I said, please sell it, because these people don't mean anything to you. Your family didn't even know the names. But if you sell it as a group, some rich person is going to keep this together, and your uncle is going to stay intact. He's going to be a real person. And 2 weeks later, I got a phone call. They said, you got a box in the basement. The lady had sent everything. Now the story gets a little stranger. When I opened the box in the basement, the first thing I saw was a familiar face. It was a photograph of a piece of artwork that we've had hanging inside our Quonset hut for the last 35 years. The artist did the artwork and gave it to the Squadron. 70 years later, the Squadron donated it to us. We've had it on display in our Quonset hut this whole time. And then I get a box in the mail with all of his personal possessions. My favorite part about this display is we have a photograph of Stan Anderson in there. He's wearing the uniform beside him. He's got the hat under his arm. We got all those pieces delivered to us. All the documentation and a copy of the artwork that we have hanging inside. It really blows my mind that an American boy who went to help England almost 100 years ago, we had a portrait of him, and 25 years after the portrait, we get all this. It's my favorite story in the museum. Come visit us and I'll introduce you to Stan.